This week I had to miss an opening and standing dinner for an artist that I'd been really looking forward to attending due to unforeseen circumstances. But it got me thinking about this lady and her particular category of the mid-career artist, which, despite being potentially the most interesting stage in an artist's career, and an opportune moment for collectors to engage, is often overlooked amid the breathless discussion of crazily high prices achieved by top established artists, or the edgy excitement that surrounds completely fresh and emerging discoveries. But here's why we should be taking notice of mid-career artists after they cease to be the new sexy thing, and I'll also point to a few I'm loving right now. Crucially, mid-career artists have a track record and have stayed the course. They will usually have had at least a decade of professional practice under their belt, and a few of those all-important institutional shows, which give a big formal mark of approval in an arena which is otherwise rather opaque and subjective. These indicators are something you don't often get with newer, emerging artists who, although they may be receiving a great deal of attention and hype, actually have no guarantee of career longevity. On the other hand, the so-called safest financial investments, those blue-chip artists whose works are so established and expensive as to be considered alternative asset classes that some banks and financial institutions will even lend against, they're already out of reach to the majority of collectors. Now, there are exceptions to this, and I'll prepare a separate video on the best way to access very top artists' works on a budget. However, for the most part, mid-career artists are a compelling offer, leaving space for their practice and name to evolve and grow, but offer the reassurance that they are less likely to disappear overnight. This week, I've been thinking about 3 distinct mid-career artists who I find compelling for very different reasons. The first is Harv Kahraman, whose show is on now in London, images of which were sent to me by a friend at her gallery, Pilar Correas. I can't wait to go and see these gorgeous, emotive works in the flesh very soon. Modupeola Fadugba's latest exhibition is also on now at London's Royal Watercolour Society. I've watched her practice evolve, and she has a particularly beautiful and intelligent way of speaking about her work and why it matters. Priestcorp is a really exciting pop artist from New Zealand who is so innovative in both his work and in the energetic and proactive way in which he runs his studio. I first became aware of him by chance when we found ourselves sitting next to one another on a flight back from the Venice Biennale a few years ago. A few weeks after I returned home, I went over to visit his studio and was amazed at the really professional operation they had going, which was building a devoted and impressive collector base and generating sales largely through their own initiatives, liaising with institutions and collectors without relying heavily on galleries, which I think is a clever thing for certain artists to be thinking about these days, in a changing commercial climate which has become problematic for many galleries other than the very biggest. So those are the three artists I've been mostly thinking about this week. I'm Ayitu Rigadaro. If you enjoy varied content about art, particularly contemporary art and the art collecting journey, it would be so lovely if you could subscribe to the channel and give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching and see you next time.